to the Prime Minister. E tautoko ana ia I ngā kōrero me ngā mahi katoa a tōna kāwanatanga.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Yes, and especially our action to deliver affordable housing to help Kiwis with the cost of living. For many, the cost of housing is incredibly difficult. It's their biggest expense, whether it's their mortgage payments each week or whether it's their weekly rent. And the good news is whichever way you look at housing, we're actually making sure we're bringing interest rates down so that Kiwis have more money in their pockets. We have stable rents. We have a reduction in the people on the social housing wait list, and most importantly, we have 2,000 kids out of emergency housing in good, safe, dry homes.
Great. He pātai tāpiri, how, if at all, will the Prime Minister ensure that this growth that his government is chasing will be fairly distributed among New Zealanders?
Well, what we're not going to do is run the economy into the ground like the Labour Greens government did in the last administration. That's why we are working hard to give tax relief to everyday working New Zealanders. But I don't remember the Labour and Green government supporting that. I don't remember the Labour Green opposition supporting an increase of $17 billion into our healthcare system. I don't remember the Labour Greens government fixing emergency housing and saying it's okay to have 3,200 households raising their kids in motels. We find that unacceptable.
Put it simply, does the Prime Minister think that it is the job of government to reduce inequality?
It is the job of government to lift incomes for every New Zealander, and that's what we are doing. We are offering them tax relief, inflation relief, interest rate relief. We're managing the books well because if you care about vulnerable people, if you care about low and middle income working New Zealanders, you run the economy well, not into the ground like you lot did.
Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Is the Prime Minister telling Chloe Swarbrick that we will not be following the Marxist model of wealth redistribution that she advocates?
Well, I'm just saying that we are not going to make the great leap backwards to socialism, for sure.
He pātai tāpiri, why, after years of increases in economic growth, do the top 10% in this country hold almost 60% of the wealth?
Oh, jealousy.
Look, I mean, in that question, what you see is not celebrating people who have been successful. You know, that is good. We want more ambition in this country. We want more aspiration. We want people to be successful. We want to celebrate that. That is a good thing. We have a fair tax system, as has been said before. But I'm telling you, what's interesting is what's the one policy idea we've had from the opposition? We actually haven't had one. What we've got is a conversation about a capital gains tax or a wealth tax, and Chris Hipkins won't make a decision on it. But that's all that they want to talk about, and I tell you, that's not going to work for New Zealand.
Why, in the face of the OECD...
Hang on. It's your own side.
I'm in the Greens, Mr Speaker.
Oh, you are quite right too.
He pātai tāpiri.
Some of your members are noisy as well, so please wait for quiet and then ask your question.
Why, in the face of the OECD stating, and I quote, focusing exclusively on growth and assuming that its benefits will automatically trickle down may undermine growth in the long run, is the Prime Minister convinced somehow that this time it will all just trickle down?
What I'm convinced of is running the economy like Labour Greens did over 6 years into the ground. We need growth in this economy. That is not a conversation point anymore. We need to grow so that we can actually create higher income jobs, put more money into people's pockets so they can deal with the cost of living. That's what we're focused on each and every day in this government. That member may not believe in growth, but growth is actually what helps low and middle income vulnerable New Zealanders get ahead.
By going for growth, does the Prime Minister mean growing inequality, growing poverty, growing homelessness, growing climate-changing emissions?
It means lifting incomes for New Zealanders, which is what they care most about, so they can get ahead. They can work hard in a country, get ahead. They can actually feel safe in a country. They see great education, great healthcare. That's what we want for New Zealanders.